the AKKO thing you mentioned? Is that going to be something that we can actually refer people to, or how's that going to work?
So good question. It is going to be something to where you can refer people to. It's going to be something where you can make money off of as well.
Yeah, because I mean, let's face it, $8 a month, that's $96 a year versus, and you're saving 120, versus a Shurion.
100%.
Yeah.
And it took me a while, and that's where people don't understand why, I go disappearing. It's not because I'm sitting on my ass. It's honestly I'm just trying to reinvent myself over and over again. You know what I mean? So, me finding that was a game changer. I got some other things that are pretty good that are in the works as well. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. How's reselling coming with you?
Trying to get my stuff sold off and scrape together big enough piece where I can order a couple, at least one or preferably two of the vendor boxes. I'll probably start diversifying more and buying, different kind. I don't know. I might do a vendor box, and then I might do because I know you said on the new boxes you're shifting to like doing all of the same product on some of the boxes.
Yeah.
Are you doing a box where you have both chargers and adapters in it, like where it's half?
Yep.
Okay, I might do something like that too, because those make total sense.
Yep, we have those. I
know you mentioned the other day that those, what was it, the flat pads were going like hotcakes, I guess you said.
The
little disc chargers.
Yeah, so the wireless chargers are selling very well. They are actually something I didn't expect to be selling so well. So yeah, they're selling so well. I have to actually drive and pick some up from one of my other stores in a whole nother state. So
was that the one where you had to cancel some orders?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm sorry. Were you talking to me when you messed up and canceled existing orders?
Yep.
I'm sorry, man.
I don't know why I was doing that so fast, but yeah, that's when I did it. But
well, I will say at least the fact that you're getting so many orders, you're scrambling for more is a good problem to have.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have. Just making sure I get paid on it is another problem that's not too good. But regardless,
as far as you mean how long it takes to get paid out, or
no, like since I canceled it, which again, that's where I'm learning with Walmart is since I even canceled it, it's like I never even shipped it, which is impossible. So I thought once you ship, it already marks as shipped, and that order is no longer an order in processing. But you have to manually mark it as shipped. It doesn't, even though you got the shipping label from Walmart and they are the ones that provided it, you still have to manually enter it to for basically to flag in their system as, oh, he sent it, let's pay him his money. So
so you have to print out the label, enter it into their system, and then ship it, or you have to print out the label, ship it, and then enter it into their system? How does that work?
So you print the label through Walmart, and Walmart provides that to you. Then after you print that out, you then have to go back into their system and say, oh, I shipped it.
Oh, okay.
Though usually that's not how it works. It usually works where if you print out the label,
they assume it's shipped.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So it's an extra step. That's kind of silly.
Yeah, it's silly and very much pointless to me. But again, that's one reason why selling with Walmart is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, gotta dot your I's and cross your T's, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. And that does become a little bit costly because little situations like that are something a new seller definitely can occur. And that would be something that not anybody could just take a hit with that.
Right.
Like that's not an okay hit. So
well, it's good to know. If I start listing on Marketplace or Walmart, I'll definitely keep that,
yeah,
keep it in mind.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So
that's cool about the AKKO thing. When's your expectation as far as that going live, so to speak, to where it can be promoted and so on and so forth?
So I'm talking to them right now. It's a whole bunch of backstories. I mean, it's basically I'm waiting for them to give us the licensing to do it.
Right.
It's a whole process that has to be done with licensing, and they are not a U.S. company, so that
extra hurdle,
bit of annoying.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's what it is. So that's sort of kind of the only thing that's in the way currently. But other than that, I mean, I'm excited about it, but also that's a learning curve as well. So
yeah, that's, I mean, this is some of the stuff you're doing right now is pretty big,
Yeah, yep. Just moving into a different space and trying to help others in a whole different way. But
I was kind of chuckling earlier when you were commenting, I think it was earlier this week when you said Apple has reached out to you multiple times and basically been like, you need to stop competing with us.
Yeah, not even because I'm better than them or anything, but it's just I think they see, okay, we could be making X amount, and you actually are sort of kind of taken away from that. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure they do that to a bunch of people, but it's very funny, and it just shows you how we as resellers are powerful.
Yeah.
And even if you feel like you don't have that many sales, you still influence someone. But a lot of us, and I was on a book called this evening, I believe, or afternoon, and a guy was talking to me, and I was telling him, like, if I was you, I would be getting out. I would be, because you're young, I would be out and I would be talking to people, because a lot of individuals, when it comes to reselling, they just stick to the platform aspect, but they don't think about it in a business structure way. Because I'm like, I would hit flea markets.
When you say platform, he's just reselling on like Mercari and eBay.
Yeah, and a lot of people are, and they are. This particular gentleman, he doesn't have any type of job anymore, and he needs it because this is his sole way of making money. And I told him, like, phone flipping doesn't work if it's just your one income. Reselling doesn't work if it's just your one income at first. I teach both of these because if you work and utilize both in a decent manner, you can at least be able to keep yourself afloat working for yourself. But the issue is a lot of people are not front facing.
Yeah, and it's frustrating from my perspective because I imagine a lot of the people that you're talking to live in a metro area where they could, if they really wanted to, they could get phones and meet up with people. I mean, if I lived in a metro area, I wouldn't be having the struggles I have instead of having to herd cats like I told you about. And I said, I'm just going to have to go to reselling because the logistics of meeting up people daily on a phone reselling basis is not very functional, and reselling on the platforms is more functional. But like you said, doing just a single aspect, it doesn't make enough. So that's why I was kind of looking into the other thing. And I'll like I said, as I get more info, I'll keep you informed.
It's not enough, especially when you're starting out. Now, can it build? Yes, but let me be honest. The reason why I'm going into the direction I'm going into is because what I think a lot of people look for is solutions to their problems. There's a whole bunch of solution companies that only work with big businesses and not really any solution company that will work with the individual like you and I. Usually they'll work with you if you are a sub under them and you're working to provide a service to another big company, but they don't really do solution companies don't really work with consumer to consumer. They really want, and it really technically in our field isn't consumer to consumer, because see, if with the product boxes that we have, you can get a cord product box, an iPhone cable product box, essential charger box, different boxes that have different products in it, and you can pitch that like we talked about before to your local repair shop. But
or even potentially your smaller cell phone store providers.
Exactly. That type of stuff is just so needed, because a lot of these cell phone stores, they're relying off of the same thing that literally their consumers are. When they're watching on YouTube,
folks like Cricket and all those kind of little smaller outfits, you know.
Yeah, and even your neighborhood wireless store, they're probably looking for products on Alibaba, AliExpress, and problem with that,
it continues to blow my mind how many people keep trying to go to like DHgate and Alibaba and AliExpress for freaking AirPods, man.
Well, yeah, and that's because, you know, and that's because they're meant to fail. And that's it's really sad to say, but they're meant to fail. So I don't really pay it any mind, really, because people that go to these platforms looking for AirPods, prime example, like a guy on a Discord just said, like, I buy mine, I just look for the cheapest, and he says he just sells them. If you're talking about looking for the cheapest, I highly doubt the customer doesn't complain, right?
And what are you selling it for? Like 20-30 bucks?
Right. And to give that advice to somebody,
I know I'd be mad as a wet hen if I paid $100 and, you know, bought one of those POS models, you know.
Yeah, and to give that advice to somebody is really dumb. Like, it just shows people,
garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. So you know, that was very interesting. But you know, I'm very much so just more engaged in looking at what people are saying, because it's just intriguing. But you know, some people have to learn from their own experiences anyway, right? It's not much that we can do. But what I did want to do today is I wanted to, because I had a few one-on-one calls today, and what I talked about on these one-on-one calls, I think will be really interesting. And I think it will be very helpful for us to go over.
Okay.
Because the insight or the reasoning behind this individual asking me these questions was very valid, and I think every reseller should think these questions through, because you know a little bit of this because we've talked for a while, but when it comes to like how do you sell, you know what I mean, you have to know what ways do you sell products in general, and what ways do you sell. So there are two different things. A lot of people, they think, okay, I sell electronics, or I sell gaming systems, or parts for gaming computers. If I was to ask you, Andy, what do you sell, what would your answer be?
I sell consumer electronics, primarily centered around like cell phones.
Okay. And what ways do you sell the products?
Well, right now I'm trying to get started getting them listed up on eBay and Mercari. I have a sister-in-law who I was going to, she's not able to right now, but sometime here soon, probably in August or September, I was going to start listing on OfferUp and Marketplace in her area, and ship a box to her, you know, and basically have her sell for me there locally, because she lives in a more metro area than I do. The other possibility that I had considered was I live in an area like in Pacific Northwest where there's a lot of seasonal mushroom picking and berry picking and stuff like that. So believe it or not, we get somewhere between like during from say like August through like November, let's say October, November, we get quite an influx of like seasonal people that come in here and are living out of like, mobile home type situations while they're doing their picking and making money. But I mean, some of them are bringing in, $300 to $500 a day. And my neighbor, one of the things he sells is, like meat and stuff to him all the time. But I was thinking, I'm sure that they might very well potentially be in need of electronic chargers, solar chargers, stuff like that, because they're going to have a phone and potentially need additional accessories, etc. for it.
Right.
That would obviously be more a seasonal thing,
Exactly. So I guarantee you do that, you're going to 10x your sales. I guarantee you do that. You're going to actually see that your business is going to gain traction regardless. I guarantee you, because one thing that I've realized I haven't, and I've done a disservice, honestly, is I haven't talked too much about being a front-facing seller. Now, a lot of people cannot.
Can you define what you mean by front-facing, so
to
speak?
Yep. So being a front-facing seller is actually looking at the people and meeting the people, not necessarily meetups like OfferUp or Facebook, but literally, whether it's a family members, whether it's friends, actually trying to sell people these products and seeing what their response is in return. Now, the reason you want to do this is because sometimes people, prime example, the solar charger. A lot of people don't know that there are solar chargers out there. A lot of people think that you got to charge a charger for the charger to work. There's
right, or you have to have a generator or something else to make electricity.
Yeah, but there is a such thing as solar chargers that charge solar with the sun.
Right.
Now, you may go and list it on eBay or list it on Mercari, but there's thousands of those on Mercari, eBay. But if you go to a front-facing customer and you show them, they may have never seen it in person. Makes them more inclined to buy. Not only that, when you sell it, you provide them with a business card, or you give them one of the small little index flyers and include your website, your social links, but also capture a name and email. If you at like the events you're talking about doing raffles, hey, I'm going to raffle off a smart card charger that closes and opens on its own and charges your device. All you got to do is fill out this form and I'll put it in the raffle box. Capture leads that way and start to build from that. And the people that you're actually referring to at your event may actually be business owners as well. And if you go and you're working and talking to people that are business owners, you can develop a connection to where it's like, okay, how many people do you have that are in the field that actually are moving around daily and you want to be able to keep their phones charged? I can do wholesale solar chargers. Like, that's how you really find a niche, is front facing. That's what I did. And I did it by going to bus stops, by going to transportation centers, by doing pop-up shops outside of elementary schools because I wanted to see what the kids liked. I've done all of that. And all of that stuff actually catapulted me into seeing exactly what to sell. So how do you sell? That's one of the most important things, because the answer should be, yes, I sell blah, blah, blah product. And that's great. But you're also, I sell blah, blah, blah products to customers that are buying through the screen, but also buying from me in person. Because if I am connecting with someone, I then can see what products work and what don't, what products are shitty, what products aren't. You know, I could tell, and that would grow my product knowledge, but also it would grow my word to mouth advertisement, which is very important because it's free. So, you know, that's very important to consider.
I like that idea of a raffle too. I know we have a Christmas show around here. They hold that at the local Randall Fire Department.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Next question is, how could you sell more? And you just sort of kind of took everything that was supposed to be shown. The way you could sell more is by thinking of new out of the box ways to sell. Just like you just said, you have different events all around. Now, I'm not saying you need to travel and become a pop-up shop specialist, but I do say the first place for you to attack, like it's time to get out of the, okay, I'm going to make a living selling on this platform. It's more so now I'm going to make a living white gloving products, but putting my brand on it. Now, your brand is you.
Right.
You know, it's how you want to spend it. That's the difference between somebody getting a Walmart charger and a gas station charger. They might have the same quality charger, but Walmart has more credibility because Walmarts are way more frequent than this one gas station. So if I'll go out to meet you, Andy, and I don't have a charger and I go get a charger at the gas station near you, in my head, I'm like, damn, if this charger don't work, I can't really come back to this gas station because I don't live here. But if you had a Walmart out there, I can say, oh, okay, I'll get it at the Walmart because I'm used to the Walmart and I see the Walmart around me too. So I got more trust for it.
It's got rep, yeah.
Exactly. The way you start to get rep is by letting people know that you're touchable, letting people know that your products are tangible. And this works for almost any product. So this method that I'm telling you is something to quickly scale a business, especially when it comes to the reselling aspect. Is literally, like you said, finding different out of the box ways to put products in front of people. Now, it don't even have to be you to do it. It don't. It could be someone else. And the beautiful thing is we have kids, right? And we want to leave something for our children. And we want them to be able to choose their own paths. But at the same time, you just never know if this front-facing brand that you're creating could impact them in a positive way for them to take it over, you know? So that's a sector in the business that I haven't really talked about at all. And I'm bridging that gap because, again, I'm somebody that is really big on constant improvement. And I see, okay, if results aren't being got by some, I'm not the type to say, okay, I'm just going to leave them in the dust. I'm more of the type to say, okay, let me think of some ways. Let me go back to the root. Let me go back to how I started because I must be missing something. You see? And when I think of that, then I'm like, okay, I did do this as well. Okay. See, a lot of people, especially on YouTube, they want to tell you how to do it online because they know for a fact that that's something that they can just sit there and continue to try to get you to pay for stuff and try to show you courses. But hey, nobody can teach you how to really develop your own front-facing brand.
Right.
You know, nobody can tell you how to speak to a customer because everybody has different ways. So this way is tailored personally to you. Okay. So that's how that would work. 10 off 15. Next, where to start? So with a lot of resellers, and I'm gonna touch on this briefly because you know this, but they don't hold themselves accountable. We got to hold ourselves accountable with daily goals, weeks, quotas, and I know you do this already. You're very analytical, and that's the way to be, and that's how you know when something's not working, right? And if something not working, what do? We don't do it, right? Like I'm not
alter it, change it, something.
Exactly. We don't keep doing the same thing expecting a different result, and it's a lot of entrepreneurs out there doing that. You got a lot of people out here trying to rap and trying to sing and do all that stuff, and that's great to do as a hobby, right? But if I'm not in any projection to get any type of money for what I'm doing, how beneficial is it for me to spend half of my check on studio time? It's not, right? Like, it's not if I'm trying to become self-employed. If I'm not trying to become self-employed, then yeah, it's cool because that's just me putting money into something I love, a hobby,
right. There's only so many notorious BIGs and Snoop Dogg's out there.
Exactly. And we live in a generation where everybody thinks that they're BIG.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. So that's where we want to continue to set the goals and understand what works and what doesn't. Finding out your budget, like you said, you want to build up a certain amount to be able to purchase something, right? To purchase a box, to purchase whatever, like your budget. That's important. And then you need to find 3 to 4 channels to sell. Okay. And that could be 3 online and 1 physical.
Right.
But I'll tell you this. If you become a household name for an electronic vendor at the fair,
one thing, let me throw this idea to you because this kind of came up to me recently and I thought it was kind of interesting. And I can't speak for the credibility, because I haven't used it yet, but it seemed pretty reasonable. It's a business to business lead generation tool. And it's you can, I guess, look specifically centered around specific businesses or certain industries, etc., and generate leads from it. Utilizing something like that for connecting with, like you said, repair shops and smaller cell phone providers, etc. I could see that as another avenue if this lead providing software works out as good as they say it does, and it's only $20, so it's not a huge, it's not a huge investment.
Right, and you're right. That's true. Lead generators, yes. And what you're saying, if it did work out, technically it would be something that is beneficial. Because
I mean, realistically, even if you get 2 or 3 leads a week, it'd be worth it,
Right, because again, you're talking about selling directly to businesses. You sell to a business can feed and put food on your table for a whole week or 2 weeks just with one sale, because they're not just going to.
And I mean, I'm not greedy. I'd be thrilled to death if I was able to get up to, say, $500 or so dollars in income per week from reselling.
Yeah, exactly. No, that makes complete sense.
Okay. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I wanted to throw that out to you because if this lead thing works out as good as I think, if it works out and shakes out to be a good lead provider, I'll make sure to talk to you about that too. But I want to test it and make sure it's not just shit. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, it makes sense. And that the lead generation, that is where my next push is going to be. Sorry, I just got home. It's going to be my next push, because that is going to be something that is for some people and something that's not for everyone. That's not going to be for everybody. Everybody is not going to work for it, but for the people that actually know how to set quotas for themselves, that are self-motivated, that's when a lead generator will work.
Yeah.
But to some, it won't, because they're not going to be driven to make the phone calls. They're not going to be disciplined enough.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah. But what you're saying completely makes sense.
I like the idea of raffles, though, as far as like, you know, maybe at local businesses here in the area, or local seasonal events, like I said, at the Christmas party at the fire department. That never even occurred to me. I like that idea.
Let me tell you something. There is a guy. He orders a product box from me almost every 3 days.
Damn.
And he owns a
So he's ordering the vendor box, right? Just to clarify.
Vendor box every 3 days. I probably made over $50,000 from this guy. And what he does, he started a company that literally just does raffles.
Holy shit. That's brilliant.
Yep. So he bundles them, the products, and he'll say, hey, he'll go to local businesses, and he'll also do it online. And he'll just say, hey, $1 for a raffle ticket to get all.
That's funny. That's exactly what I was thinking. $1 a raffle ticket.
Yeah. So, you know, he would have different, but it's also different prices, because it's like, okay, if you want to get 10 raffle tickets, it's X amount. So like he has it by bundle, and that seems to be working well for him.
Yeah.
So the raffle business is actually profitable as well.
Yeah.
Yep. So that is definitely a idea and something to think about for sure.
Yeah, I figure between the online, you know, talking to the repair shops and small cell phone retailers, and then potentially doing local raffles, you know, in the area, etc. Yeah.
It's the perfect time.
Yeah.
The summertime is the perfect time. People are home. People are bored. People got their kids home with them. Some people want that impulse buy. So right now is honestly the perfect time for raffles and the perfect time just to sell. I remember going to flea markets. Lie to you not, I was making anywhere from $880 to $1,300 every weekend. I was at a flea market Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The flea markets lasted for what, like 4 hours?
If I was still in Sacramento, there was a weekly flea market out in Roseville called Denio's Farmers Market. That thing was stocked.
Yeah.
Like every weekend they had food vendors.
Yep.
I mean, the predominant amount of the stuff was like, you know, secondhand. I mean, I won't lie. If you went out to Denio's, some of the stuff you looked at, you could see the smoke coming off of it. You know, it was so hot. But there was so dead gun much business at that place. I mean, if I was still in that area, I'd be hitting that place probably every weekend.
Yeah, yeah. and that is a benefit to some.
Yeah.
And it happened to be one of my benefits. And I was making a good amount of money. I was paying my rent in a weekend.
Right, you know? Right. To where you had all 5 days the rest of the week to figure out what else you were going to try to do. Yeah.
Yep. And every time I sold something, I just handed my business card to people.
Yeah.
And when they needed something, they called me.
Hit me up. Yep. And then like you said, have some sort of follow-up deal.
Yeah.
Whether it be email or text blast.
Yeah, exactly. And I would have them. The funny part is, after they bought from me once, 99% of the time I never seen them again. If they wanted to order, I sent them an invoice, they paid it, and I shipped it.
Right, because you had the trust then.
Exactly.
Like you said, front facing, you established the rep. Yeah, I got you.
Exactly. So that's where it's important. And that's where inspecting what you expect comes in, because you want to know how many reach outs, what is my main product, which front facing teaches you which your main product is, because it's all about what the customer wants, not what you want. Then you have how many impressions, how many people are actually interested in you. Impressions are important, especially when it's like when it's front facing, but also online. It's very telling on what you're doing and if you're doing a good job. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, this is not a...
Say that again a little bit. I got a little lost there at that last.
Yeah, impressions. So impressions are how many people are actually looking at your product, how many views you're getting, how many people are buying, conversion.
Okay.
Right?
Gotcha.
Conversion is king.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't care how many friends you make. Right. I don't care how many people are nice to you, but it's all about what? How many people purchase. Right? Are you willing to pull the trigger? Right. And if they're not willing to pull the trigger, then you ain't make a good friend yet. So, or you just don't have the product they want. So that's how you can always be able to tell, hey, what do I need to make better? What do I need to make cheaper? What do I need to make more affordable? What do I need? If you have a product that's selling like hotcakes, you need to up the price after a certain while until it slows down.
Yeah.
You know, and that's because obviously you're selling a product for too high at that. I mean, for too low, excuse me, at that point. You know, so
right, as far as you're selling out too quick, I got you.
Yeah. Yep. So like that's sort of kind of where the telltale signs come. But when it comes to anybody, because I had to ask myself this, what's the platform you love to sell on, Brandon? Like what platform do you like? What's your favorite? And if anybody asks me that, I don't really have one, because I make
pop-up shops.
I make one. Well, no, it wouldn't even be pop-up shops. It honestly would just be, I don't have one because I make a little bit from everyone. So if I was to say, okay, this is my favorite, I could do without this one, I would be losing money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense. When it comes to what's my favorite, honestly, I don't have one, because sometimes I may like eBay, but eBay might slow down, and then Mercari might pick up, and then Mercari might slow down. Walmart might pick up, and Walmart might pick up, and then one day just stop, and then I'm like, dang, I gotta be front facing again. And then I could say, hey, my favorite platform is word of mouth. So it always will change. It should always change.
Sure.
You should never be dependent on one, you know. So that is that. That's something important I wanted to talk about this class and cover in this class, because I felt like,
no, I love some of those ideas, like you said, the idea of the raffles, the idea of you know, doing the bundles and meeting, you know, face to face, establishing credibility with the customer, and then building a list of people where you have repeat business, you know.
Yeah, I thought that would be really, really important, and something that people can utilize for sure.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
I'm about to get off, but do you have any questions for me before I do?
No, the only real questions I had was just, you know, how the progress was going with the AKKO, and when the expectation was predicted as far as what that looked like. And then I know you were talking about the other thing where being able to get our hands on wholesale phones, but I didn't know if you had any kind of ETA on that, if that was going to be this fall or if that was going to be anytime soon, etc.
Yeah, so all that stuff is going to come towards the end of the summer.
Okay.
If everything works out. Because I don't just provide anything to you guys, because I want to make sure everything is legit and good.
Right. You want to test it out, like I said, with the lead generator. I get it.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
I got
that is that. But I will definitely keep you updated for sure on that, because I think that you definitely would be interested. And it would
absolutely
be very impactful, and it would be something else to put under your tool belt for sure.
Absolutely. So,
it was a pleasure talking and catching up. And
you too, man. Hope your week's been going smooth.
Yes, sir. Hope yours as well. It's just getting started for me, man. I'm just trying to continue to push myself and get better than I was yesterday, honestly.
How you liking settling in your new place now?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It is. It's a task to do everything all at once and work.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the thing that I feel I love being an entrepreneur is at least I do have that option, you know, because I could be having to report to work and not being able to do, you know, certain things. So I try to just be as grateful as possible and just make what I can make happen, you know. So I like it.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
You have a good evening. I'm sure I'll chat with you on YouTube and on Discord as the week goes on. Have a good night,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir. You have a good night. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Take care.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.